So the other day, Netflix released a trailer for The Witcher Season 2. I'm going to do a breakdown of the trailer, and I hope you enjoy.
So, I'm your destiny?
You're much more than that, Cirilla.
This is a callback to a specific line from the books, which takes place at the end of the story where Geralt and Ciri actually first meet, which is canonically much earlier than it happens in the show, but it seems they are bringing this line back to be a part of the early Season 2 story, which will focus around Geralt and Ciri bonding and beginning their father-daughter relationship.
I need to understand some things.
Alright, so we've seen Geralt and Ciri travelling through the snow there. This is not Kaer Morhen. We'll see it looks quite different later in the trailer. And because Geralt and Ciri are both incredibly low on supplies and quite poor at the moment, they can't really turn down any shelter they find, particularly with this snowstorm.
The world is changing.
But it looks like that could be a very bad thing because they either have to go out in the cold or find out whatever killed this guy.
Centra isn't safe for you anymore.
What exactly is Kaer Morhen?
And here we get our first proper look at Kaer Morhen. So you can see here the gates blown out, the towers are quite ruined, and that's because long before the events of the show, Kaer Morhen was sacked by a mob of humans who were trying to kill the witches due to a stigma and hatred of the witches as mutants. So the witches have a very similar dynamic to the non-humans in the Witcher series, in the sense that humans regard them with fear and suspicion, and as a result are often very hostile towards them.
Go home.
And here we've got them arriving at Kaer Morhen. So there's a lot of witches in this scene. This one here is Lambert. I think I've heard this one is Cohen. As for the rest in this frame, these are all new characters, which in a way does undermine the sacking of Kaer Morhen, because the idea is there were just barely any witches left from the School of the Wolf after that point. But my take has always been that the School of the Wolf in its prime had like hundreds of witches, so this handful here doesn't really deviate from the book lore that much.
Finally.
And this has got to be Eskel, and you can tell from the horrific scars that he's got. The other side of his face should look pretty bad as well. As you can see here, Ciri seems quite afraid of him.
Who the hell are you?
Sometimes I feel...
Here, Ciri is having a nightmare. Ciri had recurring nightmares after the slaughter of Cintra for many years.
so afraid.
And so here we've got a look at what could be either the armory or the laboratory. I'm leaning more towards the laboratory because it looks like we've got like scissors and writing and like shelves and vials and stuff. Something that is quite interesting here, which some of you may recognize from the other teasers, is a wooden hand. And a Leshy or Leshen has been confirmed to be in this season. So it looks like that storyline will be based around Kaer Morhen. Here we have what could be my favorite part of the trailer. These two swords are directly from the games. So it seems Netflix and CD Projekt Red are doing something of a cross-promotional thing here. And I think that's a really good thing because CD Projekt Red really set the style and feel for the Witcher universe, at least from a visual perspective. So it's only natural that Netflix would want to draw from that in order to have a similar identity to the games, which is something you might have noticed is what they did with the music in Season 1.
I feel like I could burn the whole world.
Geralt looks pretty disturbed by that, and he has a right to, because Geralt knows that Ciri probably has a great deal of intense magical power. It's unclear how much he knows at this point in the show's story about her elder blood, but he saw Ciri's mother's abilities firsthand, and it seems Ciri to some extent is becoming more aware of her abilities.
Facing your fear is not easy, but I am here for you.
This looks to be the beginning of Ciri's training. So she still has this very fancy upper-class outfit, but she's been given this training sword, and Geralt saying, "I am here for you," seems to be another step further in their father-daughter relationship.
When I say run,
And it looks like we've got some sort of monster in the same environment we were in before. Given the bat-like features, it could be a vampire. We've got a very suspicious looking man here. Judging by the way the shot looks, it seems he is looking for something. My first guess is Rience. So without spoiling anything, Rience is someone who is looking for Ciri.
you run.
So here we have some Witcher medallions, and the first thing to take in is they all have unique designs. When I saw the first season of The Witcher, I was under the impression that the medallion design that we saw there was going to be uniform across all the witches, and I'm glad it's not, because this way we just get to see some more cool stuff. And another very important part of this shot, the medallions are shaking. For those who don't know, Witcher medallions shake when they detect magic, so for them to be shaking like this, there definitely has to be something very powerful nearby. It's possible the medallions are reacting to Ciri, because there are several moments in the books when the medallions do react to Ciri in Kaer Morhen, and she scares the shit out of the witches. But it is also possible the medallions could be reacting to something else. Perhaps the Leshen hand? So you can see here the witches are quite concerned by this.
As they hide.
This kind of confuses me because this girl here, she is the prostitute in one of the episodes in season 1. She didn't really have any big parts, so I don't really know why they're bringing her back. I suppose they could be passing through this same location on the way to Kaer Morhen because Temeria is north of where they were at the end of the first season.
I have to stay.
You hide.
So here we get a first look at Ciri's new outfit. So once Ciri starts training to be a Witcher, obviously the upper class dresses that she wore in Cintra are not going to cut it. So the Witchers gave her something much more suitable for fighting.
Run! Vesemir said that the world outside these walls.
And here we have our first look at Vesemir. And it makes a lot of sense for Vesemir's character to pester Geralt out onto the training yard. So here we have a town that is either set in or occupied by Nilfgaard. You can tell by the black banner with the golden sun, and thank God the armor has had an upgrade. The penis armor is no more. Thank fuck. Here we have the witches inside Kaer Morhen, but their hands are on their swords and they definitely seem to be looking for something. This looks like a follow-up from earlier when the medallions were shaking, but if that was because of Ciri, they wouldn't be using their weapons. So it's quite possible that something is attacking Kaer Morhen. And I think we have the culprit in the Leshen or Leshy, because its hand was in the fortress. So my theory for this is that before Geralt and Ciri arrived at Kaer Morhen, the witches had a fight with the Leshen, but they didn't kill it. They managed to take its hand. They thought they had repelled it, but now that Ciri is there, the Leshen has detected her and it views her as some sort of threat and is coming in to take her out.
It's a dangerous place.
This here is the dead guy we saw earlier in the trailer, and it looks like he had someone with him. So it looks like before Geralt and Ciri arrived at this mansion, something was picking off trespassers.
But you can find.
So here Ciri, while still in her upper class outfit, is picking up a weapon. I think this shows that Ciri really doesn't want to feel vulnerable again after season 1, because she couldn't really do anything except run away when her entire home was destroyed around her. Ciri conquering her fears is a very big part of the story, and it looks like this is its beginning.
Power.
Here we have another look at Ciri's Witcher outfit. She seems to be out in the wilderness, perhaps running the training course around Kaer Morhen. Here we have someone holding another one of these unique Witcher medallions. And Geralt is talking about finding power and purpose. So this is dealing with the idea of Ciri herself becoming a Witcher someday.
And purpose.
And here we have Geralt and Vesemir back to back in the laboratory. So the fact that they have weapons out in Kaer Morhen like this, it definitely shows to me that they are under attack. And as you may notice, the Leshen hand is gone. Alright, so here we have Tissaia, Yennefer's mentor from Season 1. This looks to be the aftermath of the Battle of Sodden, which was that final battle with Yennefer and Nilfgaard in Season 1.
Where is she?
So it's just struck me in this shot, this is Ciri's Season 1 outfit, and she's in that fancy dress later in the trailer. And here we have them entering the mansion once again. As you can see, Roach is not comfortable with this location. So here we have Tissaia screaming out for Yennefer, which is odd because they won the Battle of Sodden, but perhaps Yennefer was captured in the aftermath? Not sure what this battle scene here is. This armor here doesn't look to be Nilfgaardian, so there's not much we can tell about this shot until the show comes out. Again, we have another very clear shot of a fight happening inside Kaer Morhen.
What if you're.
Okay, so this is definitely Ciri running the course around Kaer Morhen, because from the red hair, this has got to be Triss. Now, the actress didn't have red hair in Season 1, but it looks like, in response to fan feedback, they're trying to make her look a bit more like her book counterpart.
Princess.
Here we have Dara again. Possibly the most pointless character of all of Season 1. He wasn't in the books, and in Season 1, he didn't have much purpose beyond just giving Ciri someone to talk to. So, to be honest, I'm not excited to have him back, but hopefully they give him more to do. This shot is interesting. It looks like it could be Yennefer, and judging by the dirt and so on, she could be in a cell, so it very much looks like she has been captured. Now this intrigues me. At the end of Season 1, we saw the mages and like a forward army from Nilfgaard duke it out at Sodden. But in the books, this battle was absolutely gigantic. I get the feeling for budgetary reasons it's going to happen off screen, but here it definitely looks like we're seeing the aftermath from when the armies of the Northern Realms arrived and fought the main army of Nilfgaard.
Smaller than you.
And now we have our first look at Jaskier, who appears to have found his iconic hat and jacket.
Fucking.
Here we get a better look at the Nilfgaardian armor, and I just love it. No ugly wrinkles, no bland color scheme. This is the armor of a wealthy and powerful empire. So we've got a look of Geralt and Vesemir. So it looks like Vesemir is the one saying, what if your princess is more than you bargained for? Which could mean that before Vesemir becomes close with Ciri, he might be very worried about the kind of hell that she can bring down on them, both in terms of people chasing her and whatever power she may have. Okay, so this character, without spoiling much, he's from one of the short stories in the books, which it looks like they have moved forward, and that story was kind of a dark twist on Beauty and the Beast. So this looks like it could be Triss and Geralt, because they also had a romantic relationship in the books. This does kind of look like a cell, but it also looks like the room that Ciri said before, I have to stay, so maybe she was here of her own free will. It may be the mansion that we've been seeing throughout the trailer, but it could also be a different location given it looks like they'll be passing through Temeria.
Are you sure you're ready for this?
Welcome back.
Alright, judging from that, yes, Yennefer has been captured by Fringilla. And judging by the outfit, aside from the cloak, I think this is what she was wearing at the end of Season 1, so it's probably the aftermath of the Battle of Sodden. And that does divert from the books, because Yennefer was not captured after the Battle of Sodden. So I think they're going to add some new material here to fill in the gap in between where we last saw Yennefer and the beginning of Blood of Elves, which will continue to focus on her being in conflict with Nilfgaard. Okay, that's the analysis complete. However, from it, I think I've actually got a brief rundown of the first episode. Social awkwardness. Yennefer gets captured after Sodden and meets Dara in prison. Geralt and Ciri find the now empty battlefield of Sodden. They seek shelter and find a body at a mansion. Geralt meets Nivellen. Ciri is abducted. She meets other abducted women like Danica and the girl from the start. Geralt kills the vampire and rescues Ciri. Back on the road to Kaer Morhen. Whew, thanks for watching. I've got more Witcher content on the way, so hopefully I'll see you soon.